Well, it's been about 527 days since I messed with this thing, so we got some free time. Might as well get back into it. So let's talk about this tractor a little bit, since I haven't had a video on this thing in a very long time. So this is a Ford 2110. I have a video of me, going to an auction and picking this up. I also have a video of me working on this thing. This thing was running, but it has a crack in the head. This thing's been consuming water for a very long time, and it's got damage to the liner of the block as well as the head itself. This tractor also was leaking transmission fluid from the transmission to the bell housing itself, and that caused the clutch to disintegrate. And when I bought this thing, I had a feeling that was the problem. It's a common issue with these subcompact tractors, because I bought this as a running tractor, but it would not go into gear. In any case, I fixed the transmission oil leak that was going on. There was an output shaft seal from the transmission. It's an oil seal that was leaking. So I took my whole steering column and bell housing out, punched out that seal, punched a new seal in, and then I just reinstalled this. I did that just a little bit ago before I decided to start filming. So in any case, while that's put back together, now I got to get to the engine and figure out how I'm going to pull the sleeve out of this engine. So whenever you're working on an engine that has had either a head gasket leak or a cracked head, or if it's been consuming coolant or water, you want to take a look at the condition of the pistons as well as the block, the sleeves, the head, etc. Not every engine will have sleeves, this one does. And when you're taking a look at piston 1, piston 1 looks good, the sleeve is smooth. 2 feels just fine, piston looks good. Piston 3 here, you can see that it's a little shiny. See how the piston itself is shiny in certain parts? There's also craters on that piston. So there's been a little bit going on in here, and then looking at the liner here, this liner is just eating away. Like look at this thing. And sure enough, on the head of this motor, cylinder 3 has a big crack in it. I don't even know if I can fix it. I'm gonna try to fix it, but first step is we gotta pull the oil pan, we gotta knock the piston out, and then we gotta pull this liner. So let's get into that. Let's get a cold one for this. So I took the oil pan off, just plopped her there. Actually popped right off right away. Has me a little worried that this pan's been off before. I got a comment from someone on YouTube saying, like, don't you get scared about, sitting under equipment like this, and don't you get worried about safety and stuff? And I mean, safety's important, don't get me wrong, but I got everything rigged up right. I got everything set. I got a safety caution catch in case shit gets real. But if I'm scared about everything, I shouldn't be doing this stuff. So I'm not saying safety's not important. You just got to be, can't be a moron. What is she holding on to? Nothing. There's a dowel pin. There it goes. Engine balancer is heavy. And look. A little shim here. There's a shim here too. So that's interesting. Wait a second. Yeah, is that right? So I got a shim over this. The shim should be over this. Somebody's had this off before. Yeah, somebody's had this off before. But if you went to the lengths to take that motor out, why wouldn't you fix it? I do not know. Any case, we're here for a reason, and I want to take this timing cover off to see if this thing's timed. So, voila! So there's 2 timing marks on this thing. Oh man, this poor girl's been hitting. Those Amish jerk-offs, they don't know what they're doing. See, like, there's supposed to be a they're missing all the spacers. You know, the Mennonites, you know, they're nice people. They seem nice, but they fuck shit up. You know, so like the timing gears were hitting this cover. And so now there's metal. That's steel. That's in that engine oil. So we're going to have to flush this thing a couple times. Nice. The old piston. It's got some scratches, but I would say that's like normal wear for... Oh, look at that. Piston ring snapped literally in half. Piston ring came right off. Should have this puppy all set up. She's coming. She's just being noisy, but you can see the liners popping out. Because I always borrowed somebody's. And that liquid coming out is any remaining coolant that's been left in that cylinder. So that's good. It means we broke the seal. Sheesh. She did not want to come. Ooh, yeah, she shot. Okay, well, in any case, here's the cylinder liner itself. So she's been popped out, which is cool. I have to clean up all the shit because, you know, when you put the new cylinder in, you need a really good tight seal, and these O-rings prevent any water from going into your engine oil, so it's really important that those are installed properly. Okay, so we'll throw this one out. We'll clean up the inside here, get it really nice and clean, and then I'll install the new cylinder liner, but it's getting late, so I'm going to call it quits for the night. So it's the next day. I ended up pulling all these pistons out, and I noticed the oil was like glittery. It was a little chunky, a little thick. Probably had that Molly shit in it. But this engine's been through some hard times. You know, cylinder 3, which had our cracked head, you know, is consuming so much oil that the liner is shot, and I mean the piston ring actually just broke right off. But I did want to show you guys cylinder 1 because, so this is the piston ring, or this is the piston for cylinder 1, and this thing is scratched to all hell. I mean, it's really scratched. You could like feel it. And the bottom oil ring here is stuck in place. Like it is, see how these top rings are spinning? But this bottom one is just locked in. I mean, I can't get it freed up. So I was like, oh boy. And then I was like, well, what does the liner look like? And honestly, the liner of cylinder 1 doesn't really look that bad from the eye. I mean, I do see some vertical scratches, but that's like kind of normal. I don't feel anything. But I noticed a lot of the cross hatches are kind of like wiped away. So I think the best course of action is to pull all the cylinder liners, you know, all of these, and you know, put all brand new liners in. I'm going to get one replacement piston. All the other pistons look fine. I mean, like, this is 4, and this is perfectly fine. I mean, this looks good. So even like cylinder 3 that had like all that water, I mean, you can see this piston's a lot cleaner because of the water, but I mean, it's not like shot like piston 1 is, which I think is odd. Well, I just got a fresh shipment in, UPS'd from local Mennonite shop, and you know what, let me tell you, it pays to have good contacts in this type of industry, because when you're working on older equipment, stuff that especially is very unique, like this is a Japanese manufactured tractor, and you know, parts for these things are getting hard to get, and Ford, even you could call Ford and a lot of the parts are discontinued, so they could probably sell you some aftermarket stuff, but they don't keep a stockpile of original equipment laying around. But luckily enough, I have some good Mennonite contacts that hoard some equipment, and they specialize in these type of tractors. So I was able to get all the parts I needed for this engine. It cost me a pretty penny. I spent $1,000 on rings, sleeves, bearings, and 2 pistons. So $1,000 did not go a long way for this engine rebuild, but you know, I'm out of options. I got to do it. So got to add $1,000 onto the cost of this project. So now that I got all the parts I need to rebuild this engine, it's time to prep and get everything ready for reassembly. A reminder, I had a hard time getting parts for this, so 2 out of the 4 pistons are going to get original piston rings to the piston, and the pistons are in good shape. However, I was only able to get 2 original sets, so I had to do 2 aftermarket sets, and I did order 2 pistons to replace 2 of the pistons, because the aftermarket piston rings, although they say they work, they're designed to work with this piston, so it is the safest bet to replace the piston and the piston rings with the aftermarket kit. So yeah, so that's that. Anyway, I want to show you guys the 2 liners. So this is the liner that was pulled out of the engine, and this is the new liner. I'm going to show you guys the difference in the liners. I think it's good to see. So hopefully you guys can see that. It's hard for me to see, but this liner is this cylinder liner is scratched up a little bit. I mean, if you guys can see, I can't see any cross hatches, and the cross hatching is important because you know, that's what traps the oil to keep everything lubricated. And if you look at this one here, hopefully you guys can see, but this thing has beautiful cross hatches. This is the new liner. And really all of the cylinder liners look like that. I should say all the old cylinder liners, I'm going to say they're all trash. Like, none of them have cross hatching that I can see. This engine probably has been idling for too long and probably didn't have good lubrication to begin with. So I showed you guys the 2 liners, and I have these 2 liners here because as I build each of the pistons for the engine, I'm going to gap check each of the piston rings to the new liner. Piston ring gap is really important. Too little will get you in trouble. Too much gap will create blow-by. So that's what I want to show you guys on this one. So putting this liner horizontal, and let's see what we got here. So 85 millimeter bore is what I'm showing with my mics, which is what I ordered. So I want to do some math together. So these are 85 millimeter bores. So 85, let's convert everything to inches because we're in the US, 25.4. So the bore is 3.346 inches. So a good piston ring gap, you know, the best rule of thumb is like 3 to 4 thousandths per inch. So let's do times that by 0.003. So on the low end, we should see 10 thousandths of an inch of gap. So let's do the high end, so 85 divided by 25.4. And let's times that by 0.004, 13 thousandths. So we're going to say the gap we're looking for on the piston rings is from 10 thousand to 13 thousandths. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So I'm going to take the piston rings that I have here. The aftermarket piston rings I'm using are Power Seal piston rings, known brand for tractors. I think they do some automotive too, but I just know them for tractors. But they're a known aftermarket brand, so feel free to trust in them. But I'm going to gap check each of these piston rings to the new cylinder liner. And again, we're looking for 10 to 13 thousandths. I'm probably going to go right to 10,000. So I just ground the piston ring down a little bit, and now I'm just going to file the edges. So I don't want no sharp edges because they will scratch my cylinder wall. Okay, so that feels smooth. So let's check this again. Why didn't I leave this out? Should have just left the 10,000th one out. Alright, 10,000th. A little bit more to go. All right, it feels good. Oh yeah, 10,000th we're in. Let's go to 13. So I just finished gap checking the top piston ring here. I got 3 more to do, and then this one piston cylinder is ready to be put together. And then I got to do that 3 more times to complete that whole unit. So I'm going to go jam out, listen to music, do that, and then I'll bring you back to the engine and we'll punch in these cylinder liners. Is it weird to say I'm physically feeling older? I don't know if I'm turning into a pansy or if I'm actually physically getting older. Watch out, 40. So now that I got myself set up, I'm going to do a quick little hone job on where the cylinder sleeves are going to go. So I want to make sure I have a good, perfect, flush surface, no debris, no bullshit. So I'm going to quick hone these things, and then we're going to drop the sleeves in. You know, the reality is you probably don't need to do this, but I'm doing it because I'm getting knee deep into this thing. I'm going to clean these lips off as best we can because when I drop these liners in, I'm going to be banging these things home, so we want no intrusions. Wearing gloves so that everyone who are haters on YouTube don't get too pissed off. Because people get very sensitive on YouTube. Honestly, men today are very sensitive. It's kind of weird, to be honest with you. I noticed that everyone is very like sensitive to their feelings, their emotions, and you know, everyone doesn't think things are fair. My thoughts, my feelings. You know, to be honest with you, I'm really not that old, but I grew up in a totally different environment. You know, oh, I hurt your feelings? Tough shit, go fuck off. You know? Now everybody's fucking hypersensitive. It's fucking odd. I don't even know how to, like, I don't know how to, like, describe it. There we go. Just a little push. And let's do another push. Oh, we're going to have to bang it in. Let's get our wood. We go hard. That's one liner. One liner is in. Let's do another one. All right, let's skip cylinder 2. Clumsy for the video. Let's skip cylinder 2 because we're struggling with it. Let's put cylinder 3 in. So cylinder 2 has issues. So let's see if cylinder 3 goes in smoother. It really should. Yeah, cylinder 3 goes in smooth, so something's wrong with cylinder 2. Because like you should be able to like slip fit the first O-ring in by hand, and then the second one, you know, you'll need some persuasion. Just about in. Just about in. Alright, so cylinder 1 went in good, cylinder 3 winning good. Let's try cylinder 4. Nice. Nice. Alright, so cylinders 1, 3, and 4 went in fine. Let's see what the hell's going on with cylinder 2. Something must be catching. Let's take these dumbass gloves off. Alright, what's the issue here? Something catching on the edge? Hone these. Alright, so we're back at it. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. I ordered 4 O-rings for this liner, in case I, screw up. And I was looking at the inside of here. I really don't see any obstructions or why I wouldn't be able to get these O-rings in. And I was talking to Spanky about it, and we both don't understand why they don't chamfer the liners a little bit. It would just make things so much easier, but they don't for whatever reason. So yeah, I don't know. I really can't speak to it. So let's put some new liner O-rings. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna choke it up to installation error, that I wasn't lined up properly, and maybe I was whacking at it at an angle. I don't feel any aggressive marks on the liner, but you never know. So one O-ring. It should show, here's the part number in case anybody needs it. That's the O-ring for the cylinder liners. Alright. Get some of that silicone. She's lubed. So we're going to take this very slow. Okay. Personally, I feel like I'm in there good. Distribute it evenly. Lightly tap this. She's in. I'm not gonna lie though, I'm a little nervous. I am a little nervous that I cut the O-ring on installation. I'll say that was way easier. if you guys were listening when I was banging in the other O-rings, like I was hearing metal, ding, ding. I didn't get that. It went in better. I was able to, like, I think, get through the first O-ring into the passage. And then the second one did give me some trouble. So the only thing left to do is really I'm going to run my inspection camera down the ports of the block because I want to make sure that the O-rings have seated and are not pinched inside the block itself. The reason why I'm doing that is because after I reassemble this thing, I'm not going to want to just take it apart again to find out that I got a leak. If I can see that I'm pinching some O-rings, I'll pull the liners out, order new O-rings, and reinstall it. So I'm going to turn this on, and let's get to looking at what we got to see. Jacket wall. Let's go on this one. Now this is cylinder 2, which was giving us some concern. And this is cool, actually, so we'll be able to get down real... Ooh, yeah, okay, I can get it out. It's going to be a little tricky. So, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a little bit of, we'll call it schmegma, right there between the cast iron, between the liner and the cylinder block. And that, you could argue, wait, is that part of the gasket material? But that's not. That's actually the silicone lube we put on the O-rings itself. So that's a really good sign. That tells me that we got a good tight fit, and I see no gasket material. So, man, we're looking pretty good here. So doing that little quality control check is really good. And I highly advise you doing it because, you know, let's be honest, nobody likes doing double work. Me especially, I like to do it once and do it right. But if you have to do double work, you want to minimize the amount of double work you do. So that's why I really advise you getting like one of these inspection cameras. And every time you do a cylinder liner, it's good to put your scope down the hole and then just see, like, do you see any gasket material protruding? Like, do you see it cut anywhere? Because, you know, this protects the coolant from the oil. So, you know, if I were to have a crack in the gasket or a rip, or if I tore the O-ring, the moment, you know, I start running this thing and you're going to start running this thing, you're going to have coolant in your oil, and you don't want that. It's a common failure on diesel engines, especially engines that are like, you know, have been used and abused for a while. You know, the O-rings do go bad. So sometimes they get cooked. Anyway, enough chatting. I'm going to get myself prepped. I'm going to throw the pistons in this thing, and then I'm going to get my engine hoist, jack this thing up, connect the pistons to the crankshaft, and then, you know, put everything else together. The engine balancer, the oil pan, and then we'll throw the head on. Let's do it. So I'm in the process of putting a lot of stuff away and, you know, packing stuff up. So I packed up all my rubber gloves, so I know all the engine builders and all the dweebs out there are going to get pissed off, but I'm going to raw dog this with my hands. So let's talk about these pistons and the orientation that these pistons are supposed to go into this engine. And they have to go in a certain way. Otherwise, again, you're going to be doing double work, and you could damage the liner of your engine. So for these Shibaura engines, so Shibaura does things very nice. Everything is stamped and numbered accordingly. And so at the bottom of this piston here, it says stamp number 1. So this is the first piston, so this has to go into the front cylinder. This is piston 1, closest to the fan. And on the top of these engines, you see how the orientation, and you see where the groove is here on the top of the engine, on top of the piston. So this groove, where these are pointing, it always points towards the injector pump. So every single Shibaura is the exact same way. These all get lined up towards the injector pump. Okay? A good reminder also is to know that these numbers have to be facing the front of the engine. You know, that's how all it is, and that's how it is in all these Shibaura engines, and it makes sense. It's very helpful. And that's how they want you to do the orientation. And then at the bottom, you know, it all says cylinder 1. So when you're looking at the bottom of the engine, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, notch out this way, numbers in the front. This is going to go installed this way to cylinder 1. I'm going to install these pistons, 1, 2, 3, 4. Always want to make sure you're giving it the sauce before you're putting it in. So cylinder 1 and cylinder 3 got brand new pistons. And if you guys remember, we installed piston rings designed for this piston. And then I used 2 piston ring sets to replace this piston and this piston. Or I should say to replace the rings on both of these pistons. So these pistons are original. There's nothing wrong with those pistons. And I could buy brand new pistons for this one, but there's really no need to. They're in good shape and I need to save a little bit of money. Rebuild kits for these Shibauras are getting pricier and pricier, but they're worth it because they do last. I'm gonna go get my engine hoist, bring it in here, hoist up this engine, and then connect the pistons to the connecting rods. And it's probably gonna be easier if I just pick up one side of the engine and lift it up on its face, so that way I can do it on the side and zip it in. All I'm doing is double checking myself here. Just making sure I didn't do nothing stupid. And I don't think I did yet. But you never know. That's why you always want to double check. Put some of the good shit on here. Put some of that good shit on here. Definitely going to want a swivel 19 for this job. These, the way these are cracked, these the rod and the cap, or the whole rod is really cracked to create the rod cap. The angle that these are on is a little challenging. So it's not the most, simplistic to do. It's not like your, standard half moon. This is a little trickier. Now I'm starting to get a little resistance. So, ideally I would have my engine stand here and doing this on my engine stand, but I just don't, I don't have my engine stand readily available, so we got to do this half-assed. But this looks like it's mating very nicely together. No lips, very nicely it's fitting together. All right, so now that I know this is seating well, we'll say, I'm going to give this a 90-degree turn, one 90-degree turn, and then I'm gonna leave that alone, and then I'm gonna install cylinder 4, put the 4 rod cap on. And then I'll do the same process there, but now I'm gonna rotate the engine a couple times. We're gonna check it, make sure it's smooth, and then we're gonna install cylinders 2 and 3, and we're going to do the exact same tightening procedure, snug that up, and then we're going to rotate the engine all the way, making sure she's happy. As long as she's happy and I got no resistance, then I'll do the final torque on the rod caps. Man, ripping the gasket off in one piece, that's satisfying. So now that we got all the rod caps torqued up and we got our gasket material off, I'm going to install the engine balancer back where it's supposed to be. So And it's been a while, but I remember I got a spacer on either side here, which is kind of odd, but it must be, looks like it's going to line up to each of these, so maybe it's not that odd. All right. Now, we're going to have to inspect the engine balancer because you got to make sure that the gear meshes appropriately to the front of the, or I guess technically the rear of the crankshaft. Yeah. Oh yeah. So now that we know that the gears are meshing right on the engine balancer, I'm going to snug this up and torque it to spec, and then we're going to throw on the oil pan gasket and the new oil pan, which is right there. Well, the engine's back in. It's back into the frame at least. Somehow it didn't die. Got a little hairy here, but we got it done. Now that the engine block is mounted back to the frame of the tractor, I think the best thing to do is to call it quits here, and then get the tractor level ready and set for the final assembly, which would be the installing the head back on the engine, then connecting the front half of the engine to the rear half, completing the tractor, and then start putting all the other good gizmos together. So I think that's going to be a wrap for this video. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next part, which will be coming out very soon.